In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 most important steps for preparing delicious steaks quick, easy, and inexpensively. Hey, it's Doug Piper from Gourmet Brewing, where we make your day more delicious one sip at a time. If you're like me and you've struggled to cook great steak, you're at the right place because I've recently spent a ton of time perfecting my quick and easy steak recipe. And make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to share with you how I cut the cost of my steak in half or more. Step 1, I sous vide from frozen. I start with filling my container to the proper level with fresh water. Then I mount the sous vide stick at an appropriate depth. Now, while I love fresh steak, there is nothing easier than grabbing an aged steak. Then I just drop it right into the sous vide frozen. Clip the bag in place, set the temperature for 133 degrees or 33 degrees Celsius. Step 2, cook long enough to thoroughly tenderize. I'll usually cook a ribeye for an entire afternoon, tenderloins for about half that time. Step 3, prep for a good sear. Open the bag and collect the au jus because you're going to use this later. Now this steak is not pretty yet, but dabbing it dry will ensure a good crust. Now sprinkle plenty of salts and spices. Now don't be stingy. These add wonderful flavors to your steak, and most of them will fall away anyway. 4, sear it hot and lock in those juices. Heat a dry pan and add about a half pat of butter to one side of your steak and toss it into an already hot pan. Now this may smoke pretty good, but it means you're creating a beautiful crust, so put up with as much of that as you can. Now, after about 5 minutes or so, I'll add another half pat of butter and flip the steak onto the other side. Step 5, the best part, serving. Now that we're ready to serve, I find thin slices are best as it minimizes the gristle that sometimes is in lower grades of ribeye. Look at all those delicious juices that are locked into this steak. So check this out. At $6 a pound, you end up with one delicious piece of meat. Awesome. Bonus tip. Earlier in the video, I mentioned there are ways to save half or more on your steaks. Now, meat packers are nearly everywhere, but you need to look for the ones that have a retail store. Now, their meat is typically lower grade, grass-fed, and extremely fresh. And you may have to buy it in bulk. I paid $79.68 for this 13-pound whole ribeye. Now, since it was super fresh, I left it in the fridge for a few weeks of wet aging. After that, it's time to slice into 1-inch steaks and put them into individual freezer bags. I find putting the smaller bags into larger bags helps keep the various cuts together and minimize freezer burn. Now you'll have lots of delicious steaks cooked straight out of your freezer. I hope you enjoyed this, and please share in the comments your best steak tips, recipes, and ways you save costs.